Hello everyone, welcome to Remarkable tutorial. In this particular video, we'll be creating our first design. For this particular exercise, we'll be taking a look at the steps involved in creating a building block. If you take a good look at this picture of this building block, you would see that it consists of a solid layer and two hollow sections. So we'll be taking a look at the steps involved in creating this building block. Knowledge of the steps involved in creating this building block will help you to understand the steps in creating designs in Fusion 360. If this is what you are interested in, let's get started. If you are enjoying these our videos on Fusion 360, kindly subscribe to this video. You can share with your friend. You can also like this video and you can share your comments on the comment section. So now let's get started on the steps involved in the building block. Before we start creating our model, it's important to know the different sections, the different environments in Fusion 360. So when you come to your switcher button, you will see the different environments. We have the design environment. This is when you create your design. You model your design in the design environment. Then also we have the render environment. The render environment is the environment where you add your materials to your design to give it a realistic look. We have the animation environment where you can show the different parts of the design. You can show the animation, the movement of the different parts for assembly. We have the manufacturing environment where you can prepare your design for CAM or for CNC operation. We also have the drawing environment where you can prepare your design for drawing, where you have the title block and the borderline. So now we'll be working in the design environment. So presently we are in a design environment. All right. So to operate in a design environment, we are going to look at the steps involved in creating our building block. Now, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to create the solid part of the building block. Then next, we'll be creating the two hollows. Now, to create a solid part of the building block, you see that the block consists of a rectangle. So in my 2D, I'll be drawing a rectangle to form like the base of the block, a rectangle. You can see the base of the block is a rectangle. Then after which I'll convert the rectangle to 3D by using a tool called Extrude. So let's do that. So now I'll come to create. Under create, I'll click on create sketch. I'll click on create sketch button. When I click on create sketch button, now there are three planes I can choose from. There are three planes. You can see this is the plane, this is the base plane, the base of the block. Then this is the front, then there's a side. So here I have three planes. So I'm supposed to select a particular plane. So I'll be selecting the base plane. The base plane because I want to draw my rectangle on the base. So now I will come here again. I'll click rectangle. That will enable me to draw the rectangle. So now I'm drawing a rectangle to form the base of the block. So you can see the shape of my rectangle. Okay, I'm not going to be adding dimension. I'm not particular about dimension. We are only just doing a sketch. So you can see the rectangle. Now this rectangle I've drawn is a 2D object. So I need to convert this rectangle to a 3D object. So to do that, I'll click on finish sketch. Then I'll come and use a 3D tool called Extrude. So the work of Extrude is to convert my 2D to 3D. So to convert my 2D to 3D, I'm going to be using Extrude to give it height. Okay, so I'm going to look for an appropriate height that is proportional to what I want. Okay, I think I'm okay with 90 millimeter or whatever unit. Your unit might be in centimeter, it might be in inches. So whatever unit, just make sure it's proportional. Okay, I'm okay with this. Then I click OK to accept. All right, so now you can see what we have formed so far. So we have formed the solid part of the brick. So next operation I'll be doing is how to create the two hollows. So you can see the shape of the hollow is a square. It's more like two squares. All right, so I'm going to come to my create sketch again. I'll click on create sketch. I'm going to select the top, the top layer, the top plane. I select the top plane because I want to create my 2D on the top plane. Then I'll come to rectangle to create my square. Okay. So because this is a square and I want to make sure it's a perfect square, so I'm going to be adding dimension here. So let me make this 50. Then I'll press my tab key on my keyboard to switch to the other side. 50 by 50. Then enter. Okay, 50 by 50, enter. All right. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to draw another rectangle, another square rather. Okay, I'm going to draw another square. I'm drawing another square. 50. Tab on my keyboard. 50. Enter. Okay, this gives me another square. This gives me another square. All right. So now you can see on my drawing, I have all my dimensions. My dimensions are on display. So if you don't want this, if you feel the dimensions are distracting your drawing and you don't want the dimension to show, so you can come to this layer here where you have your sketch palette. In case it's hidden, in case it's in this form, you can open it and you uncheck dimension. Okay, so when you uncheck dimension, then the dimensions will go off. Okay, so there is also another option here, sketch grid. So you might also want to check out this just in case. This is optional if you want. If you don't, you might also decide to leave it. Okay, so I'm going to leave it in my case. Then I would collapse this. All right, so now I have two rectangles. I have two squares. I have two squares. So I want to position these squares properly. I want to position them properly. So now to just to make it, to give it a balance, so I'm going to be using move. So move is under modify. So I'm going to click on modify here and I'm going to click on move. Okay, so I have my move tool. So here it says move object. So I'm going to be selecting the object I want to move. So I'm just going to drag over the object. Then I'll be able to move it in order to position it properly. So you can move it in any direction you want just to make sure it's balanced. So I'm going to move it. Let me move it a little bit inwards. Okay, I think it's good this way. All right, I'm okay. Now I'm going to move this other one too. So move again. Move. Okay, select the object you want to move. Once it's selected, then I'll be able to move it in whatever direction I want. So I think I should move this. Okay, should I move it this way? Am I okay with this? Okay, let me move it just a little bit this way. Okay. All right, so now we have our two squares. Our two squares. So to convert these two squares to 3D, I'm going to click on Finish Sketch. All right, so you can see what we have now. Comparing that to the picture. All right, so now these two squares, I'm going to convert to 3D. I will also still be using Extrude. But now, after clicking Extrude, I'll select the inner surface of the two squares. I'll select the two inner surface of the two squares. Then if I drag it up, you can see dragging it up is creating another solid. But I want to create an hollow instead of a solid, so I'm going to drag it downwards. So I'm going to drag it downwards. I'm going to make sure it's coming out through the other end. Okay, then I click on OK. All right, so now you can see what we have now. It has been able to create hollows, two hollows. All right, so this is similar to the brick that we have. It's similar to the brick that we have. All right, so we have not done this to a dimension. This is just a model. It has not been done to dimension, so it doesn't have to. You can see it has large space here. So this is just to show you the steps involved in creating model in Fusion 360. So I've been able to successfully create my first design, which is a building block. So I might want to rotate this. I might want to use rotate this to see it properly. So I'll be using Orbit. When you click on Orbit, you'll be able to view the 3D model, be able to view the different sides of the 3D model. So here now we have our first design in Fusion 360. We're able to design a building block. Okay, so this looks good. It looks good as our first design. So on other designs, we'll be learning more skills in Fusion 360. You'll be learning more skills. You'll be learning more tools that can make you to be an expert designer in Fusion 360. Then later on, also we will also be learning how to work with dimensions to create a very great designs. I hope you have learned one or two things in creating this design. If you have, kindly subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, and also share your comments on the comment section. If you have any challenge, please share. I'll be able to respond to you. Thank you so much.